our 699th episode of Yogaxpress, Moving the Body to Still the Mind. I would like to reintroduce and plug my little postcard in one more time. Lizette, if you can capture that, I want our viewers to understand that all you do, this is just a simple sequence that I put together for myself, whatever worked for me, but all we do every time we're here on the mat is to just stay within the parameters of some basic stretches. And as Melissa will tell you in just a moment, it's about spinal health too, and she has been demonstrating that to us, so has Liha in a few episodes back. Before we move on, thanks Lizette, Antonio, once again thank you so much for being there for us every time we needed you. Really appreciate that. And thanks also to Ryan for setting us up in the studio, the lights and the sound. To my extreme left, well, extreme right, I'm getting dyslexic in my old age. To my extreme right, we have Liha Boo. Liha is also a yoga teacher. And Melissa Boo. Melissa was here last Monday. Was it 7:30 to 8? Wow, I really am in my Vata phase now. Melissa will give me some solutions for that. But yes, 7:30 to 8 a.m. every Monday. So stay with us. Even after we cross 700, we are going to be doing a lot of repeat episodes, but we'll also transition into the Ayurvedic cooking because the inside, the inner health is as important as Melissa will vouch. Melissa, you're also a holistic Ayurveda counselor, but you focus a lot on nutrition aspect too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you think you want to focus on today. And if there's anything else you can help our viewers and us understand about the doshas, anything else you want to add in?
Sure. Yeah. So I know last week we started talking about the doshas in Ayurveda.
Right.
We talked a lot about the Pitta dosha because it was summertime. Well, it still is. It's summertime and it's hot. And that's typically this time when the Pitta dosha is elevated. In Ayurveda, these three doshas are the different energies and characteristics that are balanced throughout our world. So we talked a lot about that heating element last time. In this episode, I wanted to talk about the Vata dosha and the Kapha dosha. Three doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. We talked all about Pitta. This is the fire and the water elements. They're present in our bodies as well as the world around us. And this Vata dosha, the next one we'll be talking about and working with today, is these elements of air and ether. So these are, I think I mentioned last time too, but just effervescence, air, movement in the body, movement in nature, the winds. It's also the sensations of cold, sometimes the brittleness, like in the fall and the leaves get all crunchy. That's a predominance of Vata dosha becoming elevated. So the sequence that we'll work with today is going to help us balance that elevated air and ether element, whether it's outside in nature in Vata season or whether it's in our bodies if something's going on to cause elevated Vata dosha.
Right.
And then the other practice we'll be doing today is a Kapha dosha-based practice. So this is very good. Kapha season is the cold, wet parts of winter when there's snow and ice and those characteristics are combined. So we're going to be building heat gently to help counterbalance that. And Kapha already has a kind of grounding element to it, so we're going to focus more on movement and fluidity and creation rather than slowing down like we do in a Vata practice.
So moving from the skies to the earth and back up.
Yep, yeah. Well, and that's the other thing that I teach is environmental science, and it's
Right.
all
That's right.
so
Yeah.
related. Yeah.
You're a professor at some college, right?
Yes, yeah. I'm an adjunct professor for environmental studies with art students, which is just a beautiful blend of, our natural world, science, movement, Ayurveda, yoga. It all comes together. This is all stuff we've evolved with over thousands of years, and
Oh, wow.
part of us. Yeah.
It's perfect that we are here in our last episode together. So, yeah.
Great.
So, Vata to Kapha and back. No Pitta.
Well, we covered Pitta extensively last time.
Yes. So good.
But I'm glad that you brought that up because we can still either, be a Pitta constitution in Vata season and want something that balances what we would call in Ayurveda Vata Pitta, which is that combination of the two.
I'm also in the about the age, right? I think if you're over 60, is it?
Yeah, age is also a factor in our constitution
right.
too. So yeah, these elements and characteristics we can see in the cycles of nature, in the cycles of our body, in our life cycle as a person on this planet.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, these characteristics are everywhere. But
That's
yoga is a
fascinating.
really great way to work with that within our own individual constitution, our own body mind. You know, yoga is a space for us to play with that. If we tend to be pitta dominant and maybe very perfectionist in our ways and looking at little details, then our yoga asana practice is a chance to practice flexibility and understanding and peacefulness. So we can really use the postures that we take to balance these mind-body things within us too.
That's beautiful. So basically what you're saying is it's the postures would be a manifestation of our mindset at the time, right?
Totally. We all know, I mean, we might not talk about it, excuse me, but there's always a lot of mind chatter when we're taking a posture, whether it's
Right.
when is this teacher going to be over with this one? Or, man, I wish we were moving more. There's always mind chatter that we're working with, even when we're just moving our bodies.
Yes.
So lots of mind-body opportunity on the mat.
On the mat,
Yeah. Or the carpet, as we'll be doing today. We're not doing any balancing poses or tricky things today, but
Okay. So if they're practicing at home, is there any recommendation you would have so they can be safe?
yeah, for a home practice, I would recommend if you have a yoga mat that's going to give you some good traction for your feet to stay balanced.
Okay.
And practicing in socks is something that comes up sometimes too. If it's cold, I understand, but
Right.
it's really important to make sure that you have some good traction on
There
the
are
surface.
socks with rubber dots under them.
Yeah.
Liha and I were talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would help in an emergency.
Totally, yep. In the cold season of winter.
That's right.
Yoga dot
Keep our
socks.
toes. Yeah. Oh, that's a nice name.
I love that.
Yoga
I
dot
don't know, we'll talk
socks.
more after. We'll get going with our Vata practice
Okay.
first. That's
Yeah.
actually the next season that'll be coming up too. So summer's all Pitta and heat. Vata is the transition into the cool weather of autumn, that dry air that flows through. So this will be a practice that's nice for grounding and warming.
Should we stand up then?
Starting
with it.
Let's start in Warrior One,
Okay.
just like we were before,
Sure.
when we were filming last time.
That's right, yes.
Okay. That's a good place to start. So at home we'll begin, you can take mountain pose first and we'll work our way into Warrior One. So bring the feet together, either the toes together or the whole inner edge of the foot, your choice. And hands can come to heart center. And in the spirit of grounding down and finding some calm to combat all the airiness and movement that might be around us in this autumn time of year, begin to breathe deeply into the belly, feeling belly expand, and then shrink as we exhale. 2 more full breaths like that. On an inhale, we'll lift the arms up above us for upward salute. And then taking left wrist and right hand, lean over toward the right. We can help balance Vata by working with the spine, so we'll start off with moving the spine in the 6 directions that it takes. Inhale back to center. Switch your grip. Exhale, bend over to the other side. So right now we're moving the spine left and right. Can also move up and down, and then twisting over from side to side too. So we'll take those movements next. Inhale back to center. Release your grip. And exhale, let the arms come out to the side as you twist over toward the right. Do your best to ground down through the hips. So left hip tends to draw forward here. See if you can bring it back. On an inhale, sweep the arms back up above you. Exhale, twist over to the other side. And on this side, maybe bringing right hip back. hinge from the hips to fold forward. And we're going to take this next movement. Usually it's just a transition, but let's make this a posture for today. Ground through the feet. Tuck the tailbone underneath you. Slowly begin to roll back up the spine. So this is going to help us articulate each of those vertebrae in that up-down direction that they can move. Head comes up last. Shoulders down the back. Inhale, arms up. And exhale to fold once more. We've warmed up the spine. We'll start moving into the hips. So bring the hands down toward the mat. Send left leg back behind you. Walk right foot out to take a wider stance. And then lower back heel down toward the floor. Squeeze the inner thighs as you begin to lift the arms up. And then come into Warrior One, lowering hips down toward the floor, finding a 90-degree bend in the front knee as best you can. Interlace the fingers and send pointer finger up toward the ceiling as you straighten the arms. This hand gesture can also help us to find balance in this air and ether elements. Release the hands, bring them back behind you. Interlace the fingers and bring right shoulder down toward the knee for devotional warrior. Staying in this pose for a long time helps us warm up the hips. And the forward fold also helps us to ground down. Release fingertips back down to the earth. Roll onto the back toes. Spring back leg forward to meet the front, forward fold. Take a moment of rest here. Option to bring the hands back behind us. And then release the thumbs down toward the floor, opening the shoulders. Okay, we'll take that on the other side. So shifting weight into left foot. Send right leg back behind you. And walk left foot just a little bit out toward the side. You can heel toe your way over in that direction. Lower back heel down. Engage the low belly, squeeze the thighs, lift up, Warrior One. Keep reaching out through fingertips as you sink the hips a little bit lower. And then interlace the fingers, pointer finger goes up toward the sky. Shoulders roll down the back. And if the ribs are sticking out, see if you can draw them in so they stack over the pelvis. Release the hands and them back behind you. And take that fold forward for devotional warrior. In our hip joints, adding this long, constant pressure can help lubricate the joint and help us find some easier motion as we keep flowing. So we'll stay here one more breath. When you're ready, release the hands down to the floor. Spring back leg forward, take forward fold, front of the mat. Grounding through feet, slowly roll back up to stand. Inhale, lift arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. I'm going to do just some slight back bending here for some gentle heat, and I'll give a few options. Option one, we can stay right here with the hands at heart center, thumbs rest on the sternum, and then this chest, the sternum area can slightly lift up toward the ceiling. So shoulders draw away from the ears, hips are steady. Just a small movement. Another option would be to bring the hands behind you and interlace the fingers as you draw shoulders away from the ears, wrists down the back. And a final option would be to bring the hands to something called reverse prayer, which is bringing the soles or the inner parts of the hands to meet at the base of the back. Those are called the palms. There we go. I know that word. So palms meet behind you, shoulders draw back, elbows even slightly come together to help you find a slight lift here. Nothing too dramatic. And if you feel any tension, you can gently come out of the pose by bringing shoulders back up, releasing the hands back down to your side. We'll all come out of our back bend in just a breath or so. Great job. Inhale, lift arms up. Exhale, hinge to fold forward. Half lift. And then step the feet back for down dog. Send right leg up toward the ceiling. Bend the knee and open the hip. And from here, make slow circles with the knee. Again, moving into that hip joint. This is an area where we can tend to store a lot of that vata dosha. Send right leg back straight up toward the sky. And then lower foot down toward the mat. Inhale, left leg lifts up. Bend the knee. Open the hip. And begin making small circles. Lower left foot down to the floor. Send right leg back up toward the ceiling. And then draw the knee in toward the nose, rounding the spine. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, round. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, round. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, right foot back down to the floor. Lower the knees, take child's pose. Is a moment to notice if you feel any difference between the two sides, since we warmed up the right leg a little bit more than the left. Bring your attention into the hip joints. Visualize you could send the breath there and invite some energy into that space. Ground through the palms, tuck the toes, lift back up for down dog. And then send left leg up toward the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, knee to nose, round the spine. Inhale, up and back. Exhale to round. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, round. Inhale, leg back. Exhale, lower the foot. Knees come to the mat. Child's pose once more. Slowly roll your way back up to a seat. Coming to hero's pose, sitting on the feet and ankles if you can. Or maybe bringing the feet out to either side and sitting the hips down in between the feet. And option that feels best for you. Hands come back to heart center. On the inhale, we'll lift the sternum up toward the ceiling. Exhale, round the spine, tucking chin in toward the chest. Inhale to lift. Exhale to round. Inhale to lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, come back up to neutral. And take a seat on the mat. Our final cool down pose for the Vata sequence. We'll take this seated just so it's easier to see for everybody at home that's watching. But we call this supine pigeon pose. You can take it seated like this or on your back. So we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee. Hands can come behind me to give me support. And I'll draw right knee down toward the floor. So
My foot is not coming down.
Your left foot?
Yeah.
Can you find release the right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
There's too far, right? It was too far forward.
Yeah. You do want the sole of the foot to be on the ground just to stabilize here. And then we'll switch to the opposite foot. So left ankle over right knee. And I heard the saying recently that yoga isn't about making your body fit the pose. It's about making the pose fit your body.
Right.
I loved that. That's what it's about, is finding the option to get those benefits for you. One more full breath here. And then release that leg back down to the floor. We'll bring the soles of the feet together. And then hinge forward, forward fold. So we've built a little bit of heat, I hope, just enough. We did some cooling forward folds. And I'll just take a few moments to talk about our kapha practice. I know we have 4 minutes left, so I want to make sure that I can disseminate. Our kapha dosha, this is the dosha of earth and water elements. Again, that energy of cohesion and grounding. So any yoga we do is going to be great to heat things up, move things around. Sun salutations are really beautiful for kapha dosha and balancing that, whether it's kapha season and it's cold and it's wet out in our winter, or we have the kapha dosha predominant in our constitution, or it's become imbalanced. We like to heat things up and move through sun salutations. I know, Banu, on the card that you introduced at the beginning today,
Right.
moves through some variations of sun salutation, so I think that's a great resource for people watching.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna plug myself in, Lizette. Wherever you have the cameras on. Guys, if you're watching, know that even if we stop taping for some time, I can always mail you a postcard, but you have to first send me I can send you a soft copy, send me your email.
Sure. Well, and so any movement like that is great for kapha. And if we also have vata or pitta, there we go, that's a great shot of the card.
Oh, nice, thank you.
Child's pose is beautiful for vata. It helps move into the hips and is also very grounding. Your face is right there on the ground.
Literally, yeah.
You can't get much closer.
Nope.
And then I'd recommend also through your sun salutations to balance kapha. You can add some pitta by adding some open hip forward folds. That would be something like Janushirasana, where you bring one foot in and bent,
Right.
the other leg is straight, and you fold forward. That's a great one for pitta too, because we're getting the hips and the cooling benefits of forward fold.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
yeah. That's what I had for today. I hope this was a good introduction
It was.
to
No, it's
yoga and how it
definitely.
links to our
You think we'll
Ayurvedic
be able to get
practice.
enough in the 2 minutes that we have left?
Let's move through the that kapha pitta a little bit
Yeah.
sequence. If you come to your seat, and I think we'll have enough room if we extend one leg at a time.
Okay.
Oh, what a nice shot this will be. And bring your right leg into center. Left foot in toward the thigh or the knee, whatever bend you're able to get to that left foot, that left leg. Flex right foot, inhale, arms up. Slightly spin the rib cage over toward the right, beautiful. And then exhale to forward fold down toward the foot. Let the head and the neck go, top of the head down toward the floor. And with each exhale, see if you can release a little more muscular effort. Just allow the body to melt into the mat. We'll keep right hand on the foot. Extend left arm up and open toward the sky. And a little chance to wave goodbye.
Yeah, we need to wrap up, so we'll do the other side for sure.
So you can bring that hand back down toward the foot. Ground through your seat, roll back up.
Since the credits are up, we'll be marinating. On behalf of our amazing team, our co-directors Lizette Perez, Antonio Camacho, and our facilitator Ryan Stillwagon. And on behalf of Lisa Moon, another yoga teacher, we'd like to thank Melissa Boo. Melissa, that was a great workout. Let's finish the other side.
Sure. Got Leah here ready to go. Here.